Hi, everyone. Welcome to Speakers Bank's podcast. Today, we're going to talk about resilience. And today's host is going to be me. I'm Camille. I'm with Oya. Hi,
Hi.
Oya. And with Julie, our guest today.
Hi.
Hi, Julie. Yes, okay. So we just have some important questions about resilience, Julie. What does being resilient mean to you?
Resilience to me means being able to kind of like stand up and be strong through different circumstances and to overcome it.
Yeah, and is why do you think this is important to you, the being resilient?
I think because it helps you find your own strengths. I think there's so many things that can kind of like knock you down. You've just got to find the things, use those things to help bring you back up again at the same time and not to let yourself get so defeated. Yeah, which is easy to do when you're in a vulnerable situation, because quite often you come across obstacles or people will say comments or something will happen, and it's so easy to get so deflated that, you've got to kind of like adapt to it and find that inner strength that can kind of like drive you forward and drive you through it. And I think it's about self-discovery as well. I think by doing that, you learn things about yourself that you didn't know beforehand.
Yeah, sure. So how do you deal with setbacks?
I think setbacks, they're just life. Like, I think sometimes you have to take a few steps backwards so you can take a few steps forward as well. And it depends on what the setbacks are as well. Like, it could be, an illness might stop you from, being mobile for a week or so. So you kind of, that will set you back a little bit, but it's when you get well again, you kind of get back into your fitness and getting yourself back to normal routines, and that, which can be a little bit frustrating until you get used to it. But you just gotta, like I said, just keep pushing and persevering, and have that mindset where you can do it, and you are doing it, and just nut it out.
That's good of you.
So, do you have any mottos that helps you build resilience in tough times? Any mantras that you sort of just talk to yourself about?
Yeah, I think I focus more on previous things that I've overcome. Like, if you can like look back and at things you didn't think you could do that you have been able to overcome, I think, and just keep them in mind. Like, as far as a motto goes, I think our only limitations are the ones that we place on ourselves. So I think just holding your own ground and learning to believe in yourself is a big step forward too, because that's really, really hard.
And that's a good thing to keep in mind as well.
Overcoming that self-doubt, which a lot of it is like yelling at yourself, telling yourself that you can do it, that you're not stupid, and kind of like just laugh it off a little bit as well when you make silly little mistakes.
It's like an inner coach, isn't it? It's like, you've got this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how would you say that you cope with pressure?
It depends on the pressure. Sometimes I don't cope very well with it, but then other times it's what pushes me into learning different things as well. Like, it depends, like, whether it's like I've got a lot to do, like I've got a lot of like deadlines to meet, like assignments due, and you've got to get kids to places at the same time, and time management, and be learning to be more resourceful, and also like asking for help too if you need help as well, I think is a really big thing, because sometimes you can be stubborn and not need help, but I think just reaching out is just as important when you've got a lot going on as well.
Definitely.
So having the right support people
Yeah.
around you, and it's really important to have those people that that you can lean on, that are going to be there for you when you need them as well. That's really, really important. Yeah, because you need somebody that you can kind of like lean on and talk to, and it's just you can trust is going to be there.
So it's about having a really good support network.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Can you tell us about a time when you worked with someone you didn't agree with?
That I didn't agree with.
Yes.
There's been lots of times when I've been with somebody that I don't agree with. Carers, especially, probably the more common times that it happens is with carers when like say I want to like buy a pair of boots, and the carer says, well, no, boots are for people who stand, you don't stand. That's silly. You shouldn't buy boots for people who runners, and it's like, well, I actually like boots. I'd much rather buy boots over runners. So you just kind of, it sounds simple, but I think it's having just been able to speak up about those little things is important, because everybody's individual, and I guess that's what makes everybody. And I think sometimes people are just too willing to kind of like force what they think and their perceptions onto you, and it's kind of like not allowing that to happen. Kind of trying to be your own person, and having like it's been okay to have your opinion, like, and you can voice it, like you don't have to be aggressive or mean, like you can say it politely and kindly, and that's okay. It's okay, because everybody has different opinions, but it's how you kind of like respond to it, There's no point, like, if someone has a different opinion to you, if you kind of like get all defensive and go, rah, kind of like, especially with like COVID at the moment too, there's so many different opinions of that. I mean, that's a hot topic at the moment. So, it's kind of, how do you handle it and how do you go about it?
Yeah, that's a little bit similar with the next questions that I'm going to ask, which is how would you respond if you receive any negative feedback from other people?
Negative feedback.
Yeah.
Depends on where it's from, because I think it's harder, like if it's from somebody close to you, like a family member or a close friend and stuff, depending on in what context it's said as well. Like, I mean, some people can say something negative and nasty to you, and it can be quite hurtful, or somebody could be like negatives in more constructive, it's just kind of like interpreting in the best way you can, so you respond in the best possible way without it kind of like causing an argument. Yeah. Try and be a bit more diplomatic, I suppose. But negative comments, they can also be helpful as well. Like you turn them into a positive. Like if somebody was to say like, quite often people say you can't do that. And it's like having that fire inside to say, well, no, I can do that. And then rising above it and just doing it, like with transferring as well. Like one of my carers refused to do standing transfers and would only use slide board transfers. So for a long time, that's what I did, because when you're in a vulnerable situation, you think that you're not going to find other carers who are going to assist you unless you do what that carer kind of like tells you. And it was like, I think you get to a point in yourself where you're like, well, that's actually your issue, not mine. And so then you just go, well, no, you take the slide board away because that's not what I was doing beforehand. And then slowly build up that strength and that resistance to be able to transfer again without a slide board. So it's little things like that you can kind of like overcome as well, and do with negative comments, because when somebody tells you that you can't do it, you're kind of like, well, you know what? Maybe that's a reason to push me into doing it, to showing me that I can do it for myself. You know, because if you let too many people put too many negatives on you, I don't think you'd ever get up and do anything. You know, so you kind of got to go, well, nah, screw you, I can do that, and then prove them wrong. You know, and let them see that you can do it. You know,
And you can see the resilience you've built just through the positivity in, you know, any negativity that comes your way. You're bringing a positivity out of it, and I think that's where your resilience shines through. It's amazing. It's really good. Yeah.
But that's, I mean, like, you don't have to be mean and nasty when you say it. You don't have to, even though it's hurtful and it is really, really offensive when people say it, you kind of just, do it in a polite way where you kind of like just keep it within, and, you know, just do it for you, not to prove a point to, you know, you prove it to yourself, you're not proving it to everybody else, you know, and I think that's where you find that little bit, you take a little bit of that power, self-empowerment back as well. Yeah. Because that's really important. It's really important to have.
Is there any advice you can give to our viewers on building resilience?
Just listen to your own voice and learn to trust yourself as well. Because I think it's so easy to listen to people on the outside of what other people tell you is the right thing for you. And I think it's kind of like when that little voice inside of you says, no, you can do it, or that's not right, you got to trust that and like listen to that, you know, and find and hold on to that inner strength that you have, you know, that
believing in yourself.
Which is slow, you know, it takes a long time, you know, and every time you do it, you know, it gives you that little bit of strength, that little bit of power back to yourself, where you slowly do build yourself back up, you know, and get, you know, more and more stronger every time you do it, you know, and it takes practice. It doesn't happen overnight either, you know, it takes a long time, you know, and sometimes you do give in and you do fall back, but that's okay, you know, as long as you keep going with it and keep trying and just keep working at it. It's a process. That's it.
That's some good advice. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you so much, Julie, for giving a very, very good advice, especially with the subscribers. That's going through the same experience that you went through. So no,
it is, like, I mean, we're all different, you know, we're all good at different things and stuff, and it's kind of like, you know, everybody joins together and, you know, can kind of like bounce off one another and learn different things. It's good.
Anyway, so thank you very much again, Julie, for giving us a lot of information about being resilient. And so thank you, Oya, for being a very good co-host. And so for our subscribers, please subscribe below. And so that's it for today. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you.